Connection lost. Connected.
That was disturbing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the stream. We've got some more ESEA open action here tonight, and I'm joined once again by Prophecy. Prophecy, welcome.
That's good to be here. Get to see a couple of teams that I don't get to see as often as, some others, let's put it that way. Two teams on the rise.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, so the two teams we've got at least for you tonight are Vinco Gaming versus Nibble Identity, and both teams that have got potential to become really, really strong sides. I mean, I've had the honor, I should say, of watching Vinco in the past play against Energy Finesse, and that was on Inferno, and Vinco kind of ran away with that game. I think the final score was about 16-3. So
that does sound like a pretty dominant win there.
Yeah, that was a very dominant win. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, there were about 6 grenade kills as well from Vinco. So it looked like they were busy practicing for the NBA.
Banana, right?
No. That wasn't the case. But it was really just all out performance then from Vinco. Then I know that you've obviously been doing a little bit of research on these teams. We're waiting for the rest of Nibble Identity to rock up here. But I mean, we could chat a little bit about the Vinco side that we have here, which is Lazarus, Cases, Dizzy, Disco Dan, and Logie.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I remember, Vinco's they started in COD, so moving over now to what I consider the better FPS game, that would be CS:GO, obviously. I mean, a decent team all around, have had some ups and downs. Like I said, they're a team on the rise, but I think they're looking for something just to push them through that ceiling that they're currently sitting at, because you can see against the lower level teams in South Africa, they tend to put them away pretty well. I mean, they had a decent game there against Vexed Phoenix, knocking them out 16-8, but against, I'd say, the heavier aim style teams, particularly something like Online Kingdom, you can see they got 16-2 there on Inferno, so a bit of a rough game. Then they've had games against Lead Pro, also 16-6 loss there. So it's a difficult one. Like they clearly have a lot of potential, but it just feels like they need a little bit of something extra to get them through that ceiling, as I said. And once they do that, I mean, maybe they do have the skills and the talents to get into the rarefied air of that top 8 in South Africa. Certainly a team with the potential to get there, but I think they just need to figure out a couple of things.
Yeah, I definitely feel that even from the game against Energy Finesse, yes, it was a long time ago, but it definitely a side that is capable of putting other teams away when they get the chance. I mean, it's not a team that we can just discount, but as you mentioned, maybe they're just needing one or two more things just to sort out, so that they're able to break through that barrier and maybe end up being the one of the top 8 teams in South Africa. And as we see more of the Nibble Identity guys join in, how much do you know about the Nibble esports team?
I mean, Nibble's currently 7-4 in the league. Just checking quickly. I mean, they don't really have a whole lot going for them here. I mean, a 16-2 loss is to White Rabbit Gaming. I mean, White Rabbit's decent, but I wouldn't say that they world beaters at this point. Online Kingdom Blaze, another heavy aim style team, got absolutely manhandled by Skeletons against 16-1 on Mirage. But Skeletons is probably a top 5 team in South Africa right now, so that is a very, very good team. Run by P&D at the moment from Skeletons, so definitely a team to keep your eye on if you looking in South Africa. So I mean, Nibble, like, they beat the teams that they should beat, they lose to the teams that they should lose to. Again, in like a 69 over Vexed Phoenix, defeats of Law and Eclipse Gaming. So Nibble is a solid team, but again, it's just you sort of hope that they can break through that ceiling and just find something extra. I mean, a lot of these teams, when I say find something extra, it's usually a lot of these teams are what you'd call a pug team, sort of like a group of 5 guys that pretty good aimers can handle themselves in individual situations, but they tend to lack the team play and especially the tactical knowledge of the other teams. And I mean, look, they do obviously lack a little bit in terms of skill, but you can at least new to that a bit by by working a little more on strategy and tactics. And I do think that teams like Nibble are often better served going for a bit more strategic lines than perhaps the higher levels. Like Bravado can get away with the fact that they don't have a hell of a lot of strategy because they are so outrageously good in terms of the rest of South Africa, so they can sort of cheat the system in some way. But you always want just that baseline level of tactics to help you out when you are in a problem, because very often the best teams in any sort of league tend to grind out wins when they have to and blow out teams when they can. And it's that grinding that really gives you a massive strength, because if you're always in a game, you're never getting like just straight 16-2. If it's like that 13-13, you can win the crazy rounds at that point. That'll put you ahead, and you can win the games that perhaps sometimes you shouldn't.
Yeah, no, definitely so. So, I mean, as we're waiting for these players, they're obviously just doing final, maybe chats, a little bit of warm-ups. Your prediction for tonight? Do you feel? I feel that we're going to have a much closer game that we had against the Energy Sinister 5 game last week Thursday. Yeah. But in terms of score-wise, who do you feel? Who are you leaning a little bit more towards here as we're going into the knife round here?
I mean, both teams have relatively even records. I think one is 8-4, the other one is 7-4, 7-3. So it should be a fairly even game. Cash is a very open map. It's a popular South African map due to the fact that you can often get away with a little bit less tactics, and it does rely quite a bit on aim. So, I mean, I'd say Vinco. I think they've looked the stronger of the two teams. But this is the kind of game that can go anyway. Yeah,
and if we talk about Vinco, looking at the knife round already going towards them, and winning the knife round here, and they're going to be able to choose which side they're going to want to be on, whether it be on the CT side or on the T side. And knowing Cash, it looks like they're going to stay on the CT side, yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. T side is the favored map on this side, but you can get away with a pretty solid CT side as well. So I mean, it's not the be all end all. If you start CT side, it certainly is capable of being pulled back. Vinco though, I mean, no kit, so they obviously very dependent on making certain that Nibble doesn't get the bomb down. Nibble, for their part, 4 armors, smoke, and a flash, and a P250. I do like that from Ghost Freak. I think it is probably the better solution here. Although I maybe would have given the pistol to a player with armor.
Logie just gets the first taps there onto Lols and takes it. Now he does get a second on the side. He gets a third as well. He gets a fourth. He's doing so well on this A side here. And Nibble being completely shut down here. Disciple eventually gets a kill down on Logie, but things are not looking that good here for him. 1v4 or 1v3, and eventually going down there, and Vinco picking up the first round there, doing incredibly well as well. I mean, Logie going absolutely ham on that site.
I was just going to say, I mean, did Vinco win that round or did Logie win that round? Because, dear lord, Nibble just sort of ran into that tapping and magnificent play there by Logie on the A-side defense. Had 2 hit shots and certainly hit multiple of them. Vinco coming out with a 5 SMG buy. Now, this is incredibly unusual, especially because they've got 3 MP7s. That is almost never seen unless you are Chris J or more likely NBK. I mean, those are the only 2 that really run this gun, and NBK just seems to do it because he's got like some weird mission to win a gun game every time he plays a competitive match.
Yeah, Necropolitan just having a little bit of a trade tool here with Disco Dan here around the sunroom area, as Disco Dan is going to lay down that smoke just to reduce all the vision, but gets spammed pretty hard there through the smoke there, and Disco Dan sitting on 21 HP here with a minute 10 left on the clock. The bomb hovering around the B area, so possibly a B hit. Very little bought here on the side of Nibble. You know, just a little bit of utility and a couple of Kevlars for the side, but nothing else really going for them at this point.
Yeah, some upgraded pistols. Jules gone for absolutely nothing, so I would assume that that's the Auber for Nibble.
Almost like
Should be. I mean, there's no way you're going to just hang on to a Glock if you can buy up.
But we're going to see the execute here. Oh, Dizzy does get able to get a kill as Lazarus also takes down Jules, and he is going to be able to get a second there. But Necropolitan absolutely destroying Disco Dan, taking down his head and taking Lazarus as well. And this is now a 2v2, and this is a little bit problematic now at the moment for Vinco. This is still very winnable here for Nibble, and they really need to try and take these battles and really try to trade off each other. And there we see the first kill here by Logie, taking out Necropolitan, and it's just Kevsor just on his own. He does get the kill on Cases, finding the Ghost Freak, or whatever. My apologies, Ghost Freak. And is able to find that 1v1, and Logie is going to just run away, and this is going to be the round for Vinco. Really well played there at the end. Sorry.
Smart play there by Logie, but Vinco, I think, will be a little bit upset with how that round went. That they should have never been that close to losing, but unfortunately a couple of bad decision makings in terms of like when to take the fights ended up costing them big time. So Nibble, they do quite a bit of damage, but they do have a player on absolutely nothing. Ghost Freak will grab himself a UMP, so he's actually come out of that round better than he went into somehow, despite losing it. And he's going to have to do a lot of work here. The rest of the team can't provide him any assistance, so he's going to have to farm up as well as he can. He obviously does get that $600 bonus when he gets the kills.
Ooh, Disco Dan pushes through the smoke in mid into the main area and actually picks up a kill there with that MP7. Just going to farm up some cash. And Ghost Freak, as you mentioned, is really going to have to do a lot of the work here. He needs to farm up as much as possible. And we're talking about farming. There's a little boost there onto the mid area, and picks up the head of Disco Dan, just taking the scalp with him. As but still a 4v4 in this third round. Minute left on the clock.
I mean, the problem here is that Dizzy's actually pushed up aggressively on B, which means that Vinco can cheat onto the A side. They've got a player sitting middle, so he knows that there's no rotations through that area, and they can stack 2 onto A with that quick rotation possibility through the middle. Ghost Freak is going to move back. I don't know if he decides to check the corner. If he does just decide to check for Lazarus, or does Lazarus get a little bit greedy and walk out? It's all about the timings here, as Dizzy is going to walk around that corner.
Ooh, Lazarus does pick up the first kill, and he's not going to be able to pick up the second kill. Unfortunately, Necropolitan is going to be taking that, and he's going to be able to pick up the UMP. Logie does take down Jules, but Dizzy does spot the bomb there, and Disciple is taken down. And 1v3 with the bomb in the control here for Vinco. It's really just a matter of time here. They definitely know where the last player is, and just going to be closed out there by Logie. Logie looking to be on form there. 2 kills that round. Logie sitting on 7 kills already, so not bad for him already. 3-0 to Vinco.
Yeah, clearly a very solid player, especially because of that pistol round. Pistol rounds are invaluable these days, probably a little bit too overstacked in terms of how many rounds you can win off of them, but regardless, Nibble Identity should be capable of winning a round here. They've actually outgunned Vinco pretty heavily. There's a lot of AKs on Nibble's side. Both sides have gone for an AWP, and we will see now who is going to win that duel.
Yeah, so Lazarus in the mid there with the AWP, but this is the first buy round here for Nibble, so we're really going to be able to see what they're capable of with this ammo that they've also got available to them in form of the utility. So going to be a pretty good round here, I feel, as Nibble still just trying to suss out, trying to find out where these CTs are, and maybe just trying to pull a little bit of the utility away from them as well.
Yeah, it's interesting that Vinco's gone for 3 kits on this round. I mean, I think Cases, who's sitting in mid, could probably have gotten away with dropping the kit, maybe picking up a flash or 2. As Neapolitan, that was actually a quick snap. Unfortunately, not going to hit it. Taps Lazarus, but not a whole lot else, as Vinco at this point just holding default. Nibble trying to look for some kind of map control. Still have quite a bit of utility. No flashes though, which could be a bit of a problem, but got some smoke, so I would assume, probably given what they look like right now, they're going to make a movement towards the A side, or possibly.
Ooh, Jules is actually walking a little bit through to Toxic and Sunroom with that AWP scoped in, just trying to see, and the bomb is following him as well. So, it is still that possibility that they're going to go for the B, and considering the time left on the clock and where the bomb is actually located, this is going to be a B hit here, as we've got Disco Dan, who's now sitting on this side, and we've got Lazarus, who does pick up the first kill there onto Jules, as Dizzy also takes down Rogue, and things are looking really, really good here at the moment. Unfortunately missing the shot there, but Lazarus does actually pick up the next kill there, and Ghost Freak and Necropolitan are live trying to do something here, but I don't think the time is there for them, as they're just going to try and save these AKs, as Vinco pick up the 4th round there, looking very, very strong.
Yeah, Nibble missed a smoke there, which meant that one of their players had to run through the smoke to get into the headshot area, and that was a major issue. But again, like, I think they set it up perfectly. They had to go for the B area, or they had to hit the B side. Did it pretty well, and then just seemingly didn't know how to smoke out the area, didn't know the flashes, or didn't actually have any flashes. And that's just the problem, is that you know, smokes are very, very useful, but you need to make use, or you need to play around the smokes that you do have, and they just didn't really do a whole lot of anything. As Disco Don setting himself up for what should have been a fantastic spray down. Only got one as Necropolitan immediately trades onto him. So there's a bit of danger. Necropolitan takes some damage from the molly there, as Dizzy is now going to push himself out. Tries to flash himself out, spot the first player, that'll be Necropolitan, and he's not going to get a second. That'll go the way of Jules. It's Lazarus, Cases, and Logie. 2 AWPs and an M4. Can they do anything at this point?
Oh, retakes with a double AWP setup is actually pretty tough at times, as Disciple knows that Cases is hovering on that headshot area and does end up getting the kill. So 2 an AWP and an M4. And as I say that, Lazarus takes up Disciple, but Ghost Freak is able to take out Logie, and it's a 1v2. Lazarus can still win this. The bomb has not been planted just yet, and with Ghost Freak being only on 16 health, this CZ could actually prove pretty useful here for Lazarus.
Yeah, Lazarus is going to walk in with an AWP though, so if he spots Jules, Jules has got to... I mean, it is all up on him right now. If he makes a bad play, gets himself killed, it makes Lazarus' life a lot easier. Lazarus is going to smoke out just to protect himself from that cover. Ghost Freak will spot him first. Oh, that was a sexy shot there. He knew what was coming. Lazarus stepped right into that shot, and neither of them able to actually save that off. It might be a problem down the line, but as it is, Nibble Identity costing Vinco big, and you can see how much damage they've been doing. Vinco not really able to get ahead, and now forced onto that eco round. Nibble will probably get their second round here, but they got to make certain it's not guaranteed, just highly likely.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate part here. As a Vinco 4-1, flash chair in the mid area. Lazarus pretty blind, but as you mentioned, this is just a heavy save round here for Vinco. They're probably not going to be able to do too much in this round. They're basically just going to look for some damage. I mean, if they can win this round, I mean, that's probably the best thing, as Case sponsors Jules through the smoke there on top of the boost as that Molotov was heading towards him, and does pick up the kill there. So a 5v4 ready for Vinco. I mean, these Deagles can do so much damage against the T's, even if they are fully bought, as Rogue spots Lazarus there in the vents area and does take out his head, and brings it back to a 4v4 though, but still all the other guns in the hands of Nibble.
Yeah, I mean, heavily favored towards Nibble, as I mentioned. It's just interesting, like, these guys like land some, like, pretty, I wouldn't say innovative, but pretty complicated pieces of utility, like the mollies to the highway area there, as Cases does go down, and a couple other smokes, but then they'll miss, like, odd smokes, the smoke to cross into Cash and the mid smoke, so... I mean, Rogue's going to walk in there, that's a fight that he should be winning, and Logie, can he do a bit of damage? If he had any other gun, might have had a chance, but as it is, he's got a USP. Disciple, please don't run through that smoke. Disco Don, just holding.
Disco Don holding close.
Should have a friend arriving soon. That'll be Necropolitan.
Yeah, Ghost Freak might have just spotted him there, and actually does take down the head of Disco Don at the end. 4-2 to Vinco. Nibble doing very well. They're only dropping down one player. They've still got plenty of cash here. Ghost Freak could possibly drop his AK to Jules, so money's still not too bad here for Nibble. They've definitely got to buy possibly 2 more, as we do see not the greatest buy here for Vinco.
No, they'll be on eco if they lose this. I mean, they shouldn't lose it, since Vinco does really not have that many proper weapons. From us is famously bad, but that nade, money for days. Rogue hits double, hits 2 guys there with a fantastic nade and does huge amounts of damage, and the boost over as Nibble, they must have heard that, as Ghost Freak removes Cases from play, and that's a wonderful way to start off. Good early frag there, and I do wonder how much of a round, or how much of a role that early grenade played. He might have actually won that fight had he not been so low.
Yeah, I mean, Lazarus is also sitting really, really low at the moment, and Ghost Freak as well. So Nibble have got the gun advantage. They definitely got the player advantage, and they've still got plenty of utility just to make sure that all these places are cleared, as Rogues takes out Disco Don. Lazarus does pick up the kill on such low health, but he's unfortunately not able to get Rogues, and without any bullets in the mag, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble here, as Rogues is also hovering around this mid area and is going to just take out Lazarus there pretty swiftly, as Logi's being able to pick up both these kills here on the A side and basically given Vinco another way back into this game, as Jules throws that grenade into the back, and Logi a little bit damaged up, but Dizzy still holding this A site really, really strong. The bomb is down here for them, and there's only 30 seconds left on the clock. Is there anything that Nibble can do? Logi's they've been able to spot out Jules, and that Dizzy picks up that last kill as well. 5-2 to Vinco, 6-2 to Vinco, 5-2 sorry to Vinco. And really, really well played there. You know, some really good play there by Logi on that A side, being able to bring Vinco back into that round, as Nibble lose that round there. And money not looking too great here for them. They're going to be forcing.
Yeah, Logi was once again the savior of Vinco Gaming. Nibble, as I said last round, they are forcing up, so they can get a decent amount of utility. It's not fantastic, but it's still something. Jules, unfortunately, only on the P250. I do wonder if maybe he would have been better served upgrading to something else, but there's a couple of players that he can kill, pick up their weapons, and it's going to be early fights. Disco Don gets a frag through the smoke. That'll be Rogue going down there, and Nibble, well, they're going to lose the opening frag, and that could be an issue, as Vinco with very heavy B presence here at the moment. Disco Don, Dizzy, and Cases all around that vents area.
Yeah, we've got Dizzy who's sitting right here by the boxes, just holding that angle really well. They definitely knows that one player is there. Jules is going to get Molotov a little bit, not going to be able to run through, but Disciples does pick up Logi there, so you know, being able to bring it back at least a little bit, but Jules not having anything more than that P250 is a little bit of an issue, as Dizzy does take down the head of Jules here. Lazarus on highway. Yep.
Disciple is the point man. He needed to hit that shot, as it does allow the players to force on. Ghost Freak, though, is going to get the kill onto Disco Don, and the fights are going down in back play. Lazarus is going to remove Necropolitan, though. This does open them to be flanked, as Disciple is instantly aware of that. He's going to spot the play, does know that he's at the forklift. He's going to hit a nutty shot there on Case and remove him from play, but it's all up on Disciple. He's the player with more HP. He's going to go down, and unfortunately at the same time Lazarus wins the fight against Ghost Freak. Nibble lose another round. Vinco up to 6, and Nibble almost certainly this time on that save.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be saving here. 6-2 to Vinco Gaming. Vinco looking pretty strong at the moment going into the 9th round here. Money pretty broken here for Nibble. Like, I wouldn't even bother with like upgraded pistols, as we're going to have a bit of a pause here. Probably just some technical issues. Maybe one of the players just suffering a little bit from lag. It does look like Dizzy is spiking a little bit. Necropolitan is also maybe just a little bit too high, so players probably just going to be looking at that. But let's just have a chat about how crucial Logi's role has been on that A site. I mean, pretty much the pistol round was won because of him, because of that 4K. And then we have a look at this last round that just went by, where with that FAMAS on that A site was able to take 2 players down to basically stop the execute of Nibble.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing about what you see in Logi's play is that he's not looking for like crazy fights. He generally plays pretty passively, which means Nibble has to run into his crosshair. As a CT, that's exactly what you want to be doing, forcing fights, especially if you know it is online. You might just get a little bit unlucky, and you could also just be playing up some playing up against some very good players. Playing passively does tend to get you more frags. I mean, the frags sometimes have less impact, but Nibble have twice now run into Logi's site, not checking correctly, and either taken a 1v1 duel against him, which he's clearly capable of winning handedly, or just not really checking the sites, allowing him to shoot them in the back. So Logi, I think, has done very, very well given the circumstances, and Lazarus also picking up well. I mean, he is the primary AWPer for Vinco, so that's exactly what you want him to be. You want your AWPer to be dominating, you want your AWPer to be getting impact frags, because it is an incredibly powerful gun, it's an incredibly expensive gun, and it's one that you do not want to be giving away too easily.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the AWP this time as we're going into the 9th round. He does have that AK, so we've got basically full rifles and pretty much full utility here for Vinco. Disco Dom maybe not as much as he would like, but still plenty. Oh, as we're going to see a push through the mid smoke here, and Lazarus is just able to take down 2 kills, farming up that money there, as Rogue and Jules is absolutely obliterated here, and it's a 3v5 as the players of Nibble are moving a little bit towards this B site, as Dizzy gets dinged pretty hard, but this is pretty much just going to be a closed out round here for Vinco. Basically, the only thing that Ghost Freak would like to do is try to do a little bit more damage. Unfortunately, not able to. Cases shutting him down. And it's going to be the 7th round here for Vinco. 7-2.
Yeah, Vinco very... Well, I shouldn't say very, but I mean, Vinco is showing a huge propensity to stack either the middle or the B side. They don't really do a whole lot with A. Leave it to Logie to sort of himself out there. I think that's probably the best thing. You know that he is a very powerful A side player, so you can use the others to overload the other areas, make certain that you win those duels. And for the moment, it just doesn't seem as though Nibble has any real idea of how to deal with this. They've won a couple of rounds, mostly by winning the aim duels, but in general, you need to kind of split up. You need to force Vinco to either give up mid with huge amounts of utility usage, or you need to, you know, maybe make them place a couple more players on A. Maybe try a rush out on A. I mean, it's difficult to know what's going on in the Nibble comms, and we're obviously blessed with being able to see everything at all times.
Yeah.
But Nibble, I do think, would be better served pushing a little bit more towards A's. Logie is going to try to take a fight against Necropolitan here through the door. It's not going to work out.
Oh.
Necropolitan, as Logie teaches him the value of not re-peeking when you're in a disadvantaged position.
Exactly. So Logie just holding off this A side so well. Lazarus is here to support him here on the heaven side, as the bomb seems to be moving over that way. You know, there's still plenty of time for Vinco to decide if they want to go back to the B side and start going that way. But definitely, if that's the decision they're going to make, they're going to have to stick with it, as timing allows Disciple to slip through Cases' crosshair that he's holding in the mid area, and if he's not careful, he might be caught out here. Ooh, I say that, and Cases actually gets an amazing headshot there onto Disciple, and Lazarus just cleaning up the site here, as it's just Jules left in a 1v2 on this A site, and he's going to be able to get the bomb down as well, and with AK in hand and a flashbang, might still be able to pull it off.
Certainly will be. One of the players is on relatively low HP, so he could win a fight fairly easily, and he's playing it pretty clever. He's getting fairly aggressive in the smoke, and I think he does need to try and find them. Smoke does him a dirty and doesn't give him the correct. Well, I wouldn't say it doesn't give him the correct. He should have been aware of the fact that it was about to fade, and there's a bit of debate as to whether there's some settings that allow you to see through smokes first. Either way, Dizzy got the kill there and the defuse, so well done to him. Vinco 8-2, Nibble identity at this point. It's difficult to say what they need to do, but I do think personally, I think fight a little bit more for mid control. If you get that, it allows you a lot of more leeway when you're actually splitting onto sides. Only once have we actually seen a B split, never seen an A split, because they've never been able to get control of that middle area, and certainly not even have a hope at getting towards the highway area. And it's going to start off pretty well. Do they get through? It is a rush. They're going to get the first play. That'll be Disco Don. He's going down. It's all up to Dizzy. He's going to get the first frag. He's sitting in a...
Oh, he's been able to
never get more than that. He's going to get an extra 3 as he finally does go down, but Cases is on hand along with some others to pick that up. Dizzy, what a monster of a round for that player. 4 kills and a massive amount of damage to the 5th, so huge plays there. It was an anti-eco, so props given, but some taken away.
Yeah, I mean, still picking up the kills, like 4 kills in that kind of position that you're holding there. You should never be able to do that against most other teams.
That's really like a super gimmicky position, and Jules with the timing play is going to remove Cases. That is exactly what Nibble Identity needs to get themselves back into players. Necropolitan ends up taking a huge amount of damage.
Yeah, that grenade doing so much damage here by Disco Don, putting him down onto 24. But Jules still with that timing play, that headshot was really, really needed there, as we do see a little bit of flashes going towards the mid area. Maybe Nibble are actually now deciding to go for this mid control, as we mentioned, you know, where they seem to be lacking, and without being able, and pretty much only being able to go onto the A side through A main is pretty, you know, it's not the greatest thing, because just 1 or 2 Molotovs and all of a sudden that whole push is stopped completely. Oh no. Disciple decided to do Necropolitan the dirty and just knifed him. Oh,
I mean, I would say the Lannisters, but the Lannisters don't really kill their own, so that's a bit of a problem. The Blood Entity giving frag back to Vinco Gaming there, and Necropolitan will not be upset, and will not be happy. And for the first time, we have an A split. Nibble Identity have smoked out to some degree the middle area. Jules is hitting everything at this point. He's going to wreck Dizzy there as Dizzy tries to pull out. And
this might actually force a rotate.
It will force a rotate. Ghost Freak. Is he going to spot Logie? He's aware of the possibility this time and he will remove him, and Rogues is going to get Disco Don. That means Lazarus has multiple angles to check. He's going to get Ghost Freak, but I don't see him winning this. It is a 1v3. He's going to have to walk through the vents and straight into Jules' crosshair. And Jules' crosshair is a deadly one. That'll be the end of Vinco Gaming's 12th round, and the first round for Nibble Identity in quite a while.
Yeah, Jules really picking up their socks in that round. I mean, being able to get that opening frag, through mid, that first really crucial one, and then also the other opener frag on the B site, really important stuff there at the end of the day. And just really opening it up there for Nibble, as being able to bring the score back just a little bit. 9-3 still to Vinco, as Dizzy is pushing the squeaky area, and he's going to find Necropolitan. Amazing headshot with that UMP. Might not be as wanted in the past, or as it is in the past, but definitely still really good in terms of that armor penetration that's available to it.
Yeah, that kind of shot is just one of those, like, yeah, of course it's gonna happen. Yeah, that's a very tilting kill. There's Disciple. I mean, he's tilting right off the server right now. His case is going to wreck him pretty hard. Vinco off to a wonderful start here in the 13th round of the game, as 5v3, Nibble has a lot of work to do, and you can just see the difference between when Nibble has that map control in mid and when they don't. At this point, Vinco getting way too much done. Jules is going to get killed, as well as two of the Vinco players, Logie and Lazarus, go down. Rogue pulling out some magic there, as he gives his team the smallest of chances into this round. They still got a lot of work to do, as Cases is going to walk out perfect timing. Rogue had to reload 2 weapons, and Disco Don will go down. Ghost Freak is the losing player there from Nibble, so it's all up to Rogue. He's not going to get that, as wonderful team play comes out from Vinco. Double peek at the same time, and Nibble will lose yet another round. They can still maybe force up into this. A couple of the players don't have a whole lot of anything, and it looks as though Rogue is going to be a generous young man and hand out some goodies to his friends.
Yeah, just a little bit of a party there, throwing down some pistols. His teammates would definitely be appreciative of that, as just some upgraded pistols here for Nibble Identity. 10-3 to Vinco Gaming on the CT side, and Cash tends to be a little bit more of a T-sided map. I mean, especially if you're able to get this mid control. Ooh, Lazarus is getting a little bit stabbed there, but he is going to be able to farm up a few kills here. He's going to be able to pick up 3. He's going to pick up 4 kills there with that UMP. And looking really strong. They're just farming up gold. Listen to me. Farming up a little bit of dollars here. Piggy Bank's looking pretty good going into this final round of the half. 11-3. Can probably buy up whatever gun he wants to at this point.
Yeah. Okay, 2 players not going to buy up, even though their teamies could drop them. That seems like a bit of a miscommunication there on Vinco's side. Nibble Identity, well, they don't really have a whole lot, so they're going to get Jules his AWP. The rest of them are going to get as much as they can. And Jules, well, I just mentioned that AWP, but it is certainly paying dividends. Disco Don goes down, and Vinco, not the way you want to start the final round of the half, as you instantly give up the opening frag.
If there was any investment that you wanted to put your money in, it's definitely Jules on the off. Nothing about Bitcoin is going to give you such returns like that, as the Disciple is going to obliterate Lazarus there with the amazing headshot here. And at 3v5, things are looking pretty good here for Nibble, for them to actually get their 4th round here on the T side. Ooh, Dizzy nearly taking out the head of Cases there, as Logie is going to try and fight off these T's on that side. It's going to be very tough here. Hiding in the smoke, and he's able to pick up Rogues. He's going to drop the M4 and pick up this AK, more for those one-tap headshots, as Dizzy takes down Necropolitan. A 3v3 all of a sudden again, as Logie misses the player there. Does find Ghost Freak. It finds Disciple as well. It's just 1v2, and Jules is going to be taken down here by Logie. Logie once again proving to be so strong on this A site, and is going to basically help seal this this 12th round for Vinco. 12-3.
Yeah, dominating first half there by Vinco, and Nibble Identity, just like a lot of the rounds, or the rounds they won, often just felt like getting a couple of opening frags and then exploiting Vinco's over-rotating over-rotations that did seem to come out quite a bit. But I mean, Nibble, I think if they'd fought a little bit harder in the middle area there, they would have found a lot more purchase. As it was, Vinco stacked heavily on the A and stacked heavily in middle and B site, and really forced Nibble to move towards A, where they tended to run into Logie, who's not too shabby. Not too shabby at all.
Logie, I mean, if you had a look back at the pistol round with the 4K right at the beginning, just showing such composure and just such calmness to actually just tap like that. I know a lot of players will tend to just spam as soon as you see more than one player. Trying to stay calm, especially clicking on their heads, so important there. But Vinco, looking at this pistol round for the T side, spoke to Flashes and Kevlar pretty much for the rest of the team, as we've got a kit on Ghost Freak and Kevlar for the rest of the Nibble side. Vinco not pushing, just literally just sitting back and holding. It's not normal for T side to sit and hold so far back in B. I mean, you can allow a player to just push up, unless this is a tactic here.
This is a super passive hold, and this is going to catch our jewels. Now, that was something that I saw a lot of in ESL 1 Africa last year, especially by the North Africans. They would sit ultra passive, but they would make certain that the CG side never really pushed up, as Ghost Freak's going to get a couple, or get a kill there on Lazarus.
Whoa,
it has broken down Vinco at this point. I mean, 3v2, can they do any more? Dizzy is doing huge amounts of work, despite having no armor, so he has to hit everything with a headshot. Can't get into an extended fight. Cases and Logie at this point. Other people holding down the B site and holding it down big time. His Case is going to get the knife.
Oh!
It is indeed. What a baller.
What a baller. His bank account is going to be looking really, really good here. And going for wow. All right, let's just go straight for the auto sniper. 13-3. It might pay off, but at the same time, it might hurt him a little bit.
It's also filthy.
Yeah.
It's also very, very filthy.
Man, things are looking pretty good here for Vinco here, as it's going to look like it's just going to be a straight rush here onto this this A side, just nading, making sure no players are holding here right close, as Logie's going to get the opening frag onto this A side, not proving that he's not just so good at defending himself, but definitely able to hold it, as Disco gets a little bit of a long peek here, or long damage there, and his Disciple pushes through here on the forklift area, but unfortunately not able to do anything much more, as Dizzy and Disco Don just closing out pretty much the rest of the round, as Dizzy jumping through the electric onto the booth area and just going to close out Jules. And I still don't think that Nibble know that there's that auto sniper here for Vinco.
Yeah, I mean, Case didn't actually get the opportunity to use it, but at this point, Dizzy, Lazarus, and Logie are the heavy hitters for their team. They have done superb amounts of damage. On the other side, Ghost Freak done a decent amount of work. Disciple has had a couple of rounds, but I really do think they need a little bit more out of Jules. As I said, you don't really want your AWPer, especially if you're going to be spending that kind of money, you really want your AWPer to be having an impact as often as possible, as, well, Jules is going to get spotted, so he's got to win a fight. Yeah, he's going to win a fantastic one. That'll be Dizzy going down. He's going to have a lot of friends falling through the windows and all the rest of those. Well, Cases does get his first kill there. Ghost Freak, one of the last two remaining. Both of them have just about nothing. Ghost Freak does have the auto sniper though, so this could get a bit weird. Does indeed get weird. He's got himself a bomb. That is a huge mistake by Vinco Gaming, and the HP that they have means they can actually go down to this weapon. And if Ghost Freak can hit the shots, he has to hit the shots. There's no other option. Yeah, definitely following, as Logie's proving to be so good there. He's going to take away the head of Ghost Freak, and he's going to recover that auto sniper at the end. 15-3 is his match point. There are 12 match points available here for Vinco. So it's looking pretty likely that they're able to close this one out. Yeah, I mean, 15-3, they got 12 match points. This should be a fairly easy one. Nibble just never seemed to be able to get into this game, unfortunately. Vinco has looked very, very good. I thought it would be a bit closer, but CS is deceptive that way, as Vinco Gaming looks like they're going to go for the Rush A, and Utility's going to slow them down. Yeah, that smoke and that nade is probably just going to slow them down quite a bit. But Rogue's definitely heard a couple of footsteps there. Definitely more than one, as Logie is just going to throw a few more nades out here. Just making a little bit more noise, just to try and distract maybe one or two more players here. Oh, they are going to smoke off that cross area. Is Vinco, but I don't know if there's much more going to happen here. Rogues just needs to hold and possibly get a kill, if not two, just to try and slow down this onslaught that is Vinco Gaming that's going to be coming through that site, as pretty much all the players are now sitting there on that A site. Yeah, and this is the problem with not getting enough map control, is Vinco has essentially stacked the A site and not really moved. They needed to make a play somewhere else just to draw some attention. They are going to win the fight, though. That'll be against Necropolitan, as Ghost Freak now does finally make that rotation win. And, well, unfortunately, Vinco Gaming are just getting murdered running into the site. This seems like a carbon copy of the pistol round in the first half, as Discodon has it all to do. He's going to get the first kill, still has another 2 to fight, and he's advantaged in both of them, as he's going to not win the second. Jules with the Pro 90 picks it up.
A little bit of MM strat, that Pro 90 coming out as Nibble pick up the round win there. Possibly just padding stats, I feel, at the end of the day, but you can't discount them just yet, as they might be able to bring it right back, but it's going to be a tough uphill climb, as 15-4 to Vinco, as they do force up here. There's no reason that they shouldn't force up at the end of the day.
I mean, why not? Have a lot of rounds to play with, so I don't mind this round. If it continues, though, it could be a problem. So Vinco, at this point, they gonna have to hit some nutty shots, because it's only Dizzy and Discodon. I'm not certain why Discodon's been given an AK. Would have been much happier to see it in the hands of Lazarus or Logie, but as it is, he'll prove me wrong, get himself a kill onto Rogue.
Yeah.
And Nibble has to be very, very careful about not overplaying their hand here. Yes, you are in the advantage, as Logie decides not to take a fight there, and Necropolitan will win fairly easily.
Yeah, but Vinco have thrown all their smokes down onto that A side, but the bomb is rotating to B, so they are trying to just juke these players exactly where they are, as the Jules is going to be taking a couple of fights here with that Pro 90, and picks up 2. Lazarus does find that AK, he does not pick up the bomb. Okay, he does pick up the bomb now, and this is going to possibly allow a bomb plant at least, and it's going to be a 2v3, so not impossible for Vinco to win this, but it's going to be pretty tough still for them to clutch this, as Nibble are trying to find their way onto the side. Lazarus does find a 1v1 and does pick up the head of Disciple here, so a 2v2 Discodon is still looking pretty low here, as Lazarus does actually spot at least a little part of the body there. Necropolitan is going to go down. It's a 1v1 now between Lazarus and Ghost Freak. Health really not looking that great here for Lazarus, as Necropolitan does pick up the kill, and this should be the defuse as well. There's no kit available. This is going to be incredibly tight.
Does Nibble have it?
No! He doesn't have it, as a Vinco pick up the win here. Just unfortunately, not, just Vinco playing it out just as long as he needed to there, Lazarus, as Vinco clears out this game, 16-4.
Yeah, Vinco, I think, decidedly the better team here. Unfortunately, it just felt like Nibble had chances, but they just, the execution really let them down. Missed smokes at times when they didn't need it to happen. Just a little bit of lack of team play, not really knowing how to play the cash map, because if you're not going to take control of middle on cash, you actually have to have some idea of what you're going to do towards A and B, and you're going to have to have very, very good site executes, and unfortunately Nibble just didn't have much of anything there, so it's a pity. I do think they could have gotten a couple more rounds had they played it a little bit better, but Vinco, I mean, full money for their win, definitely a worthy winner in this game tonight.
Yeah. Let's just have a chat quickly as we do bring up the scores from this ESEA game. Looking at the first round, Vinco 12 rounds, looking incredibly strong, and Logie and Lazarus were really crucial in those first few rounds there for Vinco. I mean, we're going to go back and back every single time to that 4K by Logie on that A site, and just him holding A alone pretty much a lot of the time just allowed Vinco to cheat more players to B, and cheat some players onto mid as well, because Vinco at least knew that if they held the mid area, Nibble would know we're going to be able to do an A split, which means that at the end of the day, Logie just had to watch 2 places, which is basically A main, and just listen at least to the squeaky area to at least notify whether there's going to be more players around that area. No A splits coming in there, and really well played there by Vinco. Closing out, getting 12 rounds on the CT side, really impressive.
Yeah, I just think that Vinco was allowed to get away with a lot of things that probably wouldn't work as well. Like, you do usually have 2 players on the B side, but you don't usually have 2 players on B side and then 2 in mid and only 1 on A. So if you're going to try and play that, you need to be absolutely confident in your A side player. They certainly were, Logie, doing huge amounts of work, but I think Nibble did miss a trick there. If they'd played a little bit more towards the A side, maybe played a little bit more up tempo, they could have caught Logie out, because when he did win his duels, it was mostly because Nibble's taking 1v1 fights. So if you double up on him, he's almost never going to win. So I do think that Nibble can work quite a lot on Cash. It's certainly not an incredibly tough map to get decent on, especially in South Africa. A lot of teams will be willing to play on it. Vinco, I mean, they won dominantly, and at this point, I don't think there's a hell of a lot you can say that they did wrong, but I do think against better opposition, they need to be a little bit more cautious on when they do push out of their sights.
Yeah, so there we go, ladies and gentlemen. 16-4 to Vinco Gaming, closing out this ESEA Open game. And pretty much, if you want to look at the MVP, I think Lazarus kind of takes it there, especially at the end. A little bit on the T side. I mean, also an ADR of 117.6. That is pretty impressive at the end of the day.
Yep.
Yeah. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining myself in Prophecy here on my Twitch page. Thanks so much. I hope you have an incredible evening further. If you have missed the live stream, this will be going on to YouTube as well, with everything on the Twitter. You'll be able to get the links and everything to the video, so you will be able to get the VOD like that. Nevertheless, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. We'll see you possibly maybe during the week, if not next week again, for some more ESEA Open action here. For the rest of the evening, have a great one. Cheers.
Cool.